Well, hello, my friends in Texas and Oklahoma. This is the Blue Water Outlook, weekly water outlook, and I'm John Feldt. Well, I hope you've all been safe this week. I know there's been a lot of severe weather over parts of Texas and Oklahoma. 16 tornadoes over parts of Oklahoma, or parts of Texas primarily, on Wednesday. That's made a lot of news. I know some of my subscribers are close to that area, and like I said, I hope everyone came out of this safe. Very strong storms. You can see this image here on the right. This is very much a classic supercell. Here's that hook. Here's the rotation going around. Your tornadoes right in this area, right in here. Very much a classic supercell that brings a lot of severe weather. I put the severe weather reports on the top. We had one episode of severe weather on Wednesday. That was the tornado outbreak. The red dots here are the locations of the tornadoes, as well as in this image. And then here's Saturday. You can see hail would be green and wind would be blue. So there was a scattering of just about everything on Saturday. So we've really picked up the severe weather after a very quiet start over the last week and continuing right into the weekend. So let's take a look by starting off today's briefing, looking at what areas are dry and which areas are wet. We've had a lot of changes over the last month. Actually, starting in winter, we've seen some real improvement over Kansas, eastern Kansas, and a large part of Oklahoma, primarily central and eastern Oklahoma, as well as eastern parts of Texas. And can't see it quite as much in Texas here, but you can see it's really, the drought's really been eroded here. This is soil moisture anomalies. Most of eastern Texas is fairly close to normal. Oklahoma, we're actually beginning to see some of these little areas in green, which is saying it's above normal soil moisture. But we still see in the western part of Texas, central and west, definitely trending on the dry side, as well as western parts of Kansas for western Oklahoma. Now, how much rain are we looking at? This was before the recent severe weather. This was just before most of the rain we've received recently. And generally, Texas needed about 6 to 9 inches of rain. Parts of Oklahoma needed anywhere from nothing, the area in white, up to 3 inches and 6 inches in the far western part of the state. So what I want to mention here, or point out here, is that the Oklahoma Panhandle and most of Texas are the areas that really can use the rain. Right now, the central part of Oklahoma and eastern Oklahoma, especially the northeast, is fairly wet and really doesn't need all that rain at this time. So this is where the rain fell last week, and we heard a lot about the severe weather, but if you look at it from the whole regional perspective, there were still many areas that received not all that much rain. It was really clustered around north central Texas into south central and southeast Oklahoma. Areas in yellow received 3 to 5 inches of rain, so very heavy rainfall in that area due to training of thunderstorm cells in that region, as well as into parts of Arkansas. One subscriber of mine really had some planting issues going on in southeast Arkansas, and he mentioned to me that the variability of rain ranged from as much as 5 or 6 inches in one area close to his farm, all the way down to only an inch or so. So rainfall was quite variable within this area, and even from a bigger perspective, you can see that there's a lot of variability. So even though I'm talking about some needed rain or even excess rain in some areas, and you can see the blue is 2 to 4 times normal for the week. Other areas were very dry, and we're looking at 25% or less of normal, and those are areas in red. So it really was sort of a scattered type scenario of rainfall last week. And a lot of times when you get severe weather, that's what you're looking at. It's not so widespread. But I think within there's still a prevailing trend with eastern parts of Oklahoma, northeast Texas getting more rain over not just the last week, but over the last month or so than most other areas over the western parts of these states. And that shows up very clear in the drought monitor update over the last week. Areas in red are the hardest hit by drought, and those are the areas I'm really watching closely to see how it looks as we get into the latter part of spring into the summer. And you're going to be seeing a lot of information I'm going to be putting out over the next couple weeks on that, and you're going to see that in this briefing that unfortunately the areas that are dry look like they're going to stay dry into the foreseeable future. So here's the big picture. I mentioned yesterday that the jet stream would be pulling up towards the north. It did, and now it's pulled back to the south. We have an area of low pressure, and what drives the severe weather is the upper atmospheric energy, the jet stream. You need that jet type wind flow. And that not only provides energy for rain and storms, it provides the shear for the potential for tornadoes. And that's why we've been getting a lot of tornado activity. And this area of lighter colors of red and orange here, that's the strongest winds and the strongest energy. And you can see that's flowing into the northern part of Texas and into parts of Oklahoma. And that's why we've had the increase in severe weather. Now this week, it looks like that energy will be staying over the region early this week. That's the jet stream in blue. But by late this week, it pushes back up to the north. It bows up towards the north. And that will probably mean that the chances of rain will diminish as we get into the latter part of the week, mid to late week, and temperatures will warm. Matter of fact, looking out at the 6 to 10 day jet stream pattern, the green are the jet flow, and what you see here is the jet flow is coming in this type of pattern, and that bow with the jet looks like it's going to stay to the north. The red dashed lines are anomalies. Red are positive, so that means it's going to be further north than normal, which means, generally speaking, warmer and drier conditions in that time frame. And I say generally because we can still have storms, we can still have isolated precipitation, but the general pattern under this flow would be warm and dry. So here's the rainfall forecast for the next 7 days. Most of this comes early in this forecast period, Sunday, Monday, perhaps lingering into Tuesday. And what we have here are the strongest areas of thunderstorms producing the heaviest rain over Oklahoma, and then diminishing quite a bit as it moves further to the south. Unfortunately, western parts and southern parts of Texas, really not all that significant rainfall this week. I thought I'd take a peek at the 8 to 14 day range, temperature and rainfall, and this is very consistent with what I said with the jet stream pushing up to the north. Looks like over the south, it looks like it's going to be above normal temperatures, especially over western parts of Oklahoma and Texas, and below normal precipitation right through the end of May, maybe even into early June. And like I say, it's a very critical time to look at this, and I'm going to be talking about the role of feedback and different things in information I'm sending out later this week and in my newsletter that I'll be issuing very soon as well. So some of the general trends and threats, just wanted to sort of say the same thing. This is a precipitation forecast through early June, and you can see very dry conditions over most of Texas, with perhaps the exception of the northeast part of the state, and a little bit better in Oklahoma. But still, I think the general trend after this rain, this is including the rain we're getting early, if you subtract that, it looks like we're getting into a pretty much a warm and dry period to round out May and into early June. So soil moisture, it's going to increase over the next couple of weeks, next week, due to the recent thunderstorms that are occurring at this time. But other than that, I think the trend will be for decreasing soil moisture over most of the region over the next week or two. So the takeaway points, scattered storms early this week, perhaps another bout of severe weather, and then a possible prolonged below normal stretch of precipitation and above normal temperatures. Now I'm working on a little bit of project for my friends in Texas and Oklahoma. I'm going to focus a bit more on your area, and you're going to see some information coming on that later this week. I'm going to try to put out a sort of a special update once a week for you, and just sort of focus on your area as we get into the growing season and summertime. So look for that. And again, if you ever have any questions, you know how to reach me, John at BlueWaterOutlook.com. Thanks for listening.